Creating content has never been so easy, but yet so hard. Algorithms changing every time you turn around, trends popping up every single week, and your favorite content creator telling you something new every single day. And now you're frustrated and confused because you haven't even decided your niche or the strategy behind your content creation. And it's not your fault. The world of content is changing rapidly every second. So, yes, it's hard to produce the content you desire to produce. But if you stay until the end of this video, I will give you a framework that you can go out and implement immediately to produce effortless content and get the results that you desire. Now, let's get into it. Prior to COVID, right, you'll get on social media, and the goal in mind was to socialize with your friends, talk with people you haven't met in a long time, get on there to socialize. That's why it's called social media. You'll use that time to catch up with family, to catch up with friends, to watch other people's stories of people you haven't seen in 6 months, 12 months, 3 years, and you wanted to communicate with them. And back then, social media was truly a platform to socialize. It was where you had the urge to actually communicate with people. And you were confused when content you weren't interested in popped up as you were scrolling on Instagram, or maybe you were on Snapchat, or maybe even on YouTube. You were on there to get content you were interested in. And when the stuff you weren't interested in popped up, you were confused and annoyed. But the tide has shifted. You now get on social media, the explore page, your reels, and now they are filled with content that interests you. Now, to the point that you will doom scroll all day, and it's high key addicting. A social media expert, Gary Vee, says, we have now shifted towards interest media. It is no longer social media. So we get on the platform in order to socialize and see people. We get on these platforms, and the algorithm delivers us content we are interested in. It delivers us content on that we will doom scroll all day, because that's the goal of these platforms. The goal of the platforms is for you to sit on them all day, every day. You ever wonder why when you get on Instagram, and last week you liked a reel on somebody running a marathon, and all of a sudden the reels and the content on your page is straight marathon content and runners content, and now you become interested in it. That's the goal of the platform now. It wasn't how it used to be where people get on social media. I definitely don't get on social media to socialize all the time. I get on there to see things that I'm interested in, just as you probably do. And you're stuck on what niche you're looking to serve, when social media is now about catering your algorithm to posts you're interested in. It's like it's recording every single conversation you have outside of being on that platform, because it's hearing your voice, it's hearing the conversations, and it's catering to you what you want to hear. It's catering to you what you want to see. It's like they have spies everywhere, and it's listening to what you say to deliver you content. That is what the algorithm is. And you're missing the point because you're stuck in analysis paralysis and not moving because you're not sure what niche you should pick, or you're stuck after you find your niche, and you don't know your next step. It's holding you back and you're not moving. And I'm here to tell you, the answer is not just copying your favorite content creator, right? Or just posting content about your life, getting up every day and saying, hey guys, this is what I'm doing, right? You're so interested in yourself, no one is going to be interested in you. That's not the answer to this problem. The answer to finding your niche or finding the strategy lies in the framework active. Now, this framework does not disregard your niche, but actually it does the opposite. It supports it. It helps you really cater down and funnel down to, who am I really going to serve? How can I make my social media experience the best experience possible for those who come across my page, right? So I'm gonna give you an example. Imagine it was a rainy day and you and your partner were outside coming from the movies, right? And it's raining outside, so you decide to shield your partner and yourself with an umbrella. Now, as you guys are walking towards the car, y'all are talking about everything that happened in the movie theater, right? And you're also talking about your plans that you plan on doing once you get home. And as y'all are conversating and y'all are talking with each other, you begin to talk about the favorite moments from the movie, how it made you feel, what it reminded you of. You start talking about the first thing you're going to do when you get home. You start talking about your family and so on because as you were talking about this movie, it prompted you to start to talk about and think about other things, right? Under the umbrella, there are many topics being spoken. But guess what? It all stemmed from the movie you just watched. You would have been talking about maybe family or plans when you get home, or things that stood out in the movie to you, or how it made you feel, or things that you learned from the movie. You never started talking about those things until the movie was brought into the picture. The umbrella was the niche about the movie, and under it presented a bunch of subtopics you just spoke about. You weren't just talking about the movie, but what the movie did was give you permission to talk about other topics that stem directly from the movie. And this is what your niche does. It gives you the permission to talk about other topics, and you're not bound to one area. As you just said, social media is in the interest media space. So not necessarily you would not necessarily be doing yourself a disservice by talking about one thing, but you're doing yourself a disservice by not talking about the subtopics under those under that one niche or one thing that you're going to follow. If you're so stuck and bound to one thing, yes, people are only going to know to come to you for that one thing, right? But guess what? All the other aspects you miss out on. You miss out on the branding piece. You miss out on the personal branding piece. You miss out on the connection piece. You could miss out on the emotional piece. When you talk about these different subtopics, people can and come to you for the advice for that as well. But guess what? It all lies under the one thing. It all lies under that one niche. So don't allow yourself to be stuck in oh, I need to find what niche I'm serving. Okay, pick one thing, and then list all the subtopics under that thing to give yourself permission to talk about that. For example, if you want to talk about content creation, right? You don't just talk about content creation, but you also can talk about marketing. You can talk about sales. You can talk about persuasion. You can talk about communication, because all those things lie under the avatar of someone who wants to create content. But we're going to get there. The age of interest media isn't about the person who talks about how much they love running marathons, right? But it's about the person who loves running marathons, loves eating good food, loves Jesus, watches anime. That's what social media is now about. It's give value, but it's also the subtopics. It's also about the branding portion. It's all about who you are as a person. Because right now, when we think about the age we are in with technology, people are craving human experiences. People are craving to be in experience with other people who act and think just like them. Don't want to interact with a robot all day. If someone wants to go interact with a robot, they'll go to Chat GPT and romanticize their life, which some people already do. But that's not the people you want to work with. That's not the people who are watching your content. They want human experiences. They don't want just a one trick pony. Yes, you may be good at this one thing, but talk about things and the subtopics under that. Don't leave yourself bound to the one thing, because you deep down you want to talk about how you just went snowboarding last week. Deep down you want to talk about how communication supports content creation. And it's going to help your brand. It's going to help your business. So you're not bound to the one thing. Stop being bound by your niche. Now, what you want to do in your content, right, is you want to begin to tell stories in your content that interest people. How do you tell stories that interest people and do not put them to sleep? They have to know that you are speaking to them. And this is where active does its best work. This is where the framework does its best work in supporting your niche, and then allowing other people to know that you are talking directly to them. People watching your content, but not actively listen because they did not know you were speaking to them. So still imagine, right? You were walking under the umbrella with your partner, right? But this time you were talking to them as if they were your professor. They're going to look around wondering, like, man, who is this fool talking to? I don't know who he talking to, right? You ever had not an altercation, but a moment with a parent, right? And you get a little riled up and they turn around, like they break their neck, turn around and be like, who is this fool talking to? Because he can't be talking to me, right? They've lost the connection. Well, you've lost the connection because they knew you weren't talking to them. So therefore they're not going to listen to a word you have to say. So the same thing in the content. Now the connection is lost because they never felt invited to the conversation. So they figured you might have just been talking to yourself. And you can't continue to make content that does not have the viewer in mind, as we just stated, or your partner in mind, because they will never know that you are speaking to them. How can you expect someone to engage with your content and speak to you if they are never knowing you're speaking to them? And we're going to solve that right now. We're going to walk through active as if you were a online fitness coach, right? Helping athletes run a sub 4 marathon. Now get this into your brain. This is simply a framework a framework of focus to help you create content. You're not bound by a niche, by a framework, by an algorithm. But once you get this down, the person you are now serving becomes a lot clearer. Now, for the A in active, this begins with ache. The definition of this is the persistent and repeating frustration they are tired of experiencing. This is not just a one-time problem. It's the pain they keep running to every single time. So what you must ask yourself is, what keeps repeating for this avatar? What have they already tried? What feels heavier over time? Because the ache is not just a discomfort, it's exhaustion. It's what they're tired of going through. It's what they're begging God for, like, please get me out of this. I'm tired of going through this. The aching pain. What is the person you want to serve going through? What are they continually going through? Because once you're able to speak to the pain points or uncover the pain points that they have, they will immediately know you are talking to them. They will immediately know, oh, they just caught my attention. Maybe I need to listen to them because it's going to solve me a problem. What the ache does is allow you to mirror the customer's desired pain. I mean, the desired customer's pain. So they feel you're talking directly to them, right? It helps create a path on how you're going to help them solve the pain that they're in. Because once you are able to lead somebody away from the pain, then they begin to trust you. When they feel like you're in their shoes and they feel like you understand them. Because the one thing about us as humans, we crave the emotion of feeling important. And what happens when you call somebody out on their pain and on how you can help them and fix that problem, they feel important. And that's what you want, right? So, with the example of the fitness coach who was helping athletes run a sub 4 marathon for maybe their first run, right? For example, in this example for ache, right? Maybe this athlete has used ChatGPT to build workouts. They have tried to learn themselves on how to properly run a marathon, how to fuel, how to eat, how to consistently go out on runs. But they're not seeing progress. The same thing keeps happening over and over and over and over. They're not getting results. They're going out running, not seeing no progression. They're going out and they just don't trust anybody. And they end up not hitting their goal of the sub 4 every time. And then maybe they've already run the marathon and they come out injured every single time they've attempted to go on the run. Excuse me. They end up injured every time they go on the run. In this case, you're calling out that aching pain because there are athletes and people who go through that. They're trying to run a sub 4 marathon, maybe for the first time or consistently, but they keep getting hurt every time they go out to run. That is the ache you want to call out, because once you call that out, that person is a lot more likely to go work with you rather than a coach who is helping athletes run a sub 3 marathon, because their problems may be different than the problems of you running a sub 4 marathon, maybe for the first time or repeatedly. So you want to do the same thing when it comes to finding out your avatar and not being stuck by a niche. Now, we went through the A. Now C. C stands for conviction. The definition is the belief they currently hold and why the problem exists. This belief feels very true to them, even if it's wrong. And you don't want to disregard that. Yes, their belief may be wrong, but you have to call that out. You have to put yourself in their shoes and think, why do they think the problem is this problem keeps occurring? What advice have they already trusted? What do they blame? Do they blame themselves, or do they blame the circumstances they're in? Because this is what conviction does. It explains their behavior. What listening to conviction does allows you to be inside their shoes. It reveals why they think the way they do, why they do the things that they do. It allows you to take a mile in their footsteps. Because once you understand their convictions, you understand maybe why they keep repeating the same cycle, because it's their convictions, right? The current convictions you hold in your life are a glimpse of your behaviors. You, like, for example, right? You may have the conviction to learn more about Jesus Christ, right? So, if that's your conviction, more than likely, you're going to be spending a lot more time reading your Bible, praying, reading books, watching YouTube videos, watching sermons, watching podcasts, because of that one conviction that you had in Christ. But once you understand the person you're targeting's conviction, you can then call out those things from that person, put yourself in their shoes, and now you're thinking about the way they behave. And once you can map out the way they behave, you can move accordingly to that. You know when to talk to them, you know when to ask them, you know when to have a CTA, you know when to directly speak to them, you know how to when it's time to be their friend, because you're already predicting how they're acting. Now, the example of the athlete, right? So the conviction for this athlete may be the athlete may believe it's too expensive to pay for a coach. And all the coach is going to do is tell me the same things I already know, tell me the same things that ChatGPT is already giving me. The athlete is blaming that they just aren't built to run a marathon and they should just give up because running is too hard. What this would do will allow you as a business owner to also know the objections they will have and what state of mind they will be in when you're communicating to them. And the benefit of understanding the objections they have is because you're able to disqualify them. So if I know the athlete already is saying in his mind, his conviction is, yeah, the coach is going to tell me everything I already know. ChatGPT already told me what to do, and I don't think I'm fit to run a marathon. For me, as an entrepreneur that's creating content for this person, as the coach to go help this person, what I'm going to do is say, you may think what I'm going to give you is the same thing ChatGPT is going to give you, but it's not. ChatGPT is probably telling you, go out, run 3-4 times a week, and don't worry about speed runs or speed workouts. An example of what you will go through in my program is we'll go through a tailored plan on how we can make sure you run a sub 4 marathon in the next 90 days. What this will consist of is 3 easy runs, one short run, one speed run, and then one long run. And now, yes, you may be thinking it's too expensive to pay for a fitness coach. But you want to know what's more expensive is the injuries you keep occurring. What's more expensive is the pain you're putting your body through and the time you're wasting doing these things that does not matter, and you cannot get this time back, rather than simply hiring a coach, accumulating the knowledge, so then you can go out and avoid all these injuries and wasted time. That's what having the convictions and understanding the convictions of your customer does. Now, A C T. T stands for attention. It's the decision they know they need to make and what they are actively seeking clarity, permission, or confirmation about right now. This is the current moment this person is living in. So, what you want to do is ask yourself, what choices are they avoiding? What are they afraid that choice will cost them? And what are they searching, scrolling, or consuming, right, to resolve this? Because if the person doesn't have any tension, they won't have any action. And one of the most important questions in there is, what are they afraid that the choice will cost them? Because once you understand what they think, them accepting, for example, going into your program will cost them, again, you can disqualify that. Again, you can already think, already have that top of mind of when this question comes up, or if someone wants to work with me, they think it's going to cost them time with their family, right? You will say, this is not going to take any time away from your family. But what it is going to do is increase the intimacy with your family. And, or maybe, yes, this may take away an hour or two from your family so that you can become a better man or woman for your family in the long term. That's what understanding the tension does, right? Tension helps you call the person out. Deep down inside, we all know the work we need to do, but we are avoiding it. All we need is someone to give us permission to act on the thoughts we are having. And that's all the customer you're seeking to serve needs. He or she needs the permission from you so they can go out and actually work on it and do the things so they can then have the tension, because if they don't have tension in a certain area plus conviction, someone is likely not going to work on themselves in that area, because what tension does, it drives you. And when you understand what drives the person you're looking to seek, the person you're looking to serve, you can meet them where they're at, and you know what to say and what not to say. So, for our example, with the fitness coach helping athletes run a sub 4 marathon for the first time or consistently, the example here is the tension the athlete may face is he or she knows they will not get to the next level without help. They know they must start prioritizing speed workouts and long runs. They know they must increase the volume every week, but they are afraid. They think this athlete may think what is going to cost them going to this program is going to cost them, they won't be able to have fun during their runs, or they're going to continually be afraid. And they think it's going to cost them just extra money, when actually investing into the program will save you time, it will save you money, it will save you injuries, and it will give you a tailored plan for you. But without understanding why someone is not moving or the choices they're avoiding, you can't call them out on it, because they know deep down inside what they should be doing. But the moment you call it out and you say, this is what you need to be doing, and you know you need to be doing it, then that person is going to feel like, oh yes, you're right, I need to start doing that. And they're just seeking the permission for someone to say, go do X, Y, and Z. They just need the permission. So, A, C, T, I. I stands for identity risk. This is kind of similar to the tension, but it has a caveat. The definition of this is who they might have to stop being if the problem is solved. This is the real resistance to why someone is not changing. Because one, they may be afraid of who they're going to disappoint. Two, they're afraid of the comfort they're going to lose. And three, they're afraid of the version of themselves that's going to have to die in order for them to achieve the goals they want to achieve or see the results they want to achieve. What identity risk it does is allows you to understand the transformation that must take place. It will help you prompt the person you're creating content for to continue to watch your videos, right? Just like conviction, it allows you to be in their shoes, because once you're in their shoes, you understand the person they have to leave. So say someone is standing in some Crocs, right? And they know they need to go put on some Yeezy slides, right? They are afraid of the comfort they're going to lose from the Crocs to get into the Yeezy slides. They're afraid they're going to have to let go of the version of themselves that wears Crocs every day to trade it for the person that wears Yeezy slides. But the person in Yeezy slides is the results that they must get. And the thing is, what they're not necessarily scared of leaving the shoe. They're afraid of what it's going to take to put their foot inside the Yeezy shoe. If you understand example, yes. But it just allows you to see deep within the person they have to become, because I truly believe in this life it's about you becoming somebody, not you arriving to that point. And deep down inside, yes, we may want the material things and the external things, but most importantly, we want to become somebody. Some people may want to become the person that their mother can call on them for anything, that if a family member is in need, they can drop whatever they're doing and go see about them. They want to become the person that can provide for their family whenever there's emergency. They want to become the female in their family that does great things, that breaks barriers. Yes, the material things come, but it's really the identity that most of us are chasing. And we're able to call that out and tell that person, you have to stop being this person so you can become this person. They will again know that you are talking to them. So, for example, with the athlete, right? This athlete will have to stop being comfortable and let go of their ego. And excuse me, wow. They force the version of doing it alone to die so they can become someone who enjoys community. So they have to force that the person that they love doing everything alone, they have to let go of the person that wants to do everything in isolation so they can become the person who enjoys community. Because maybe the best way for them to run this up for a marathon is in community. And that may be the coach's value. That may be his leverage. Is I'm going to teach you to run this up for a marathon, but doing it in community rather than doing it by yourself on how you've been already doing that. That is the person that is the person the athlete is going to have to let go of. And do that for yourself. Who is the person that your ideal avatar is going to have to let go of? Okay. ACTIV. Now, if this is not the most important one, it's second. Vision. The person they want to become on the other side. And it's not just the outcome they want to achieve. This is about identity and not just achievement. So you ask, how do they want to see themselves? What would success have to be for them? What feeling are they chasing? What is the person they are desiring to become? Vision helps you frame how the customer will view himself or herself after going through your content, after going through your product, after going through your offer. The vision helps you develop content to transform that person's life, because the person watching the content already is envisioning themselves becoming that person, and it's your job to show them what it will look like. But if you don't understand when someone is at point A and the person they want to be at point B, you can't create nothing to help move them to point B. And that is your job. Your job is to worry about this middle ground. How can I get you from point A to point B? Because at the end of the day, the offer and the solution that you are presenting, that is that point B. And you have to figure out what their vision is, make sure it's in line with your product or offer at point B so you can guide them to getting there. But if their vision is not the same as the product or service that you are offering, they won't even go through the platform. They won't go through learning in progress. So for our example with the athlete, right? The vision of this athlete in terms of identity, the transformation, is they want to cross the line and be proud of the discipline they had. They want to become someone who can trust their word, that people will see that people will see this person with grit, with determination, with some pride about themselves. They want to get across the finish line and hug their significant other. They want to get across the finish line and see their family, so their family and friends can be proud of them. And in the back of their head, be like, wow, I'm proud of him or her for doing this. I'm proud that they put themselves through a grind, and they are proud that they selected somebody to selected me to come out here and support them. That is the person they want to become. It's not all about the material things that they want to achieve or the money or the success, right? But they want to become someone that people acknowledge, someone people holds with respect. The same thing with you and your content. What is the vision of that person, the identity that they want to feel? Because again, one of the deepest desires for us as humans is the desire to feel important. And once you cast that vision on what they deem as important, or the identity that they want to achieve, they will know you're talking directly to them. And lastly, ACTIVE. E stands for environment. Environment may be one of my favorite ones because by definition is what already has their time, trust, energy, and their loyalty, right? The thing is, you're not competing with other brands and other platforms. You're competing with the person's current coping coping mechanism. What are they coping with? What are they using to take up their time? What fills their days? What do they default to maybe when they're stressed? What keeps them busy, and that busyness keeping them stuck? Because what environment does as it explains their delay. Environment allows you to, again, get deep into their shoes and understand what is causing their delay. Because when you call out the delay, now you can make sure your solution is catered to that delay. And then now you can also call out that delay. Use also the environment to take the blame off of other people's shoulders. And it will allow you to approach the customer with humility. Because when you take the blame off of somebody's shoulders, right? Nobody wants to feel blamed. Nobody to wants for someone to walk up on them, call them out, and be like, "It's your fault," right? How does that feel? Say, for instance, you were walking in the grocery store and somebody was holding a vase, and the person who had the vase actually wasn't paying attention, and they bumped into your shoulder, and they drop and break the glass vase. The person who had the vase looks at you and says, "It's your fault." Immediately, although it wasn't your fault, you're going to feel pressure. You're going to feel offended, like, that was not my fault. That's what you want to. But if someone came up to you, same scenario, and they said, "Oh," and the vase dropped, same thing, and they say, "Oh no, it's not your fault. I'm so sorry," right? That's what people want to feel. They don't want you to come up to them and say, "Oh no, it's your fault you're stuck. It's your fault you cannot run this up for a marathon. It's your fault you're not growing on social media." They don't want to feel that blame, because then they're just going to run away from you. So if others allows you to call this person out, and the person they will have to let go of, it will feel like you in their business. You feel me? Like if you calling out the environment they're stuck in, right? So for the athlete, right? The environment that they may stuck in is maybe spending too much time on social media rather than going out to work out for themselves and test what really works. Or maybe they're around people who does not feel as ambitious or want to go out and better themselves. And when you call out the environment that people are stuck in, they will be like, "Hey man, he all up in my business." Like, it's true. And over time, it creates a trust to the person. Feels like, "Oh wow, he gets me. Oh wow, this person understands me." And that's what we want. We want people to know, like, and trust us. But if you never know who that person is, how can they truly and honestly know, like, and trust you? It is no way. So in closing, right? Active, ache, ache. But I forgot it myself, y'all. Ache, conviction, tension, identity risk, vision, and environment. And once you define all these things, it should prompt you and now challenge you to make more effective content effortlessly without scrambling around for your ideas and going out to go and try to find your niche. That's what active does. It gives you a framework to follow to better understand the person you're looking to create content for. And once you understand them, they will know you're talking to them. And they won't feel like the partner under the umbrella when they feel like the other person is talking to them like they're their professor. People want to know you're actually talking to them. Therefore, they will know that you care about them. So if you're still watching, thank you. I truly appreciate it for lending me the most valuable thing, which is your time and attention. So I hope this helped you. Until next time, go be great.